Hey everybody, welcome to another Good e-Reader comparison. My name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Today we're going to check out the reading experience on the Sony PRS-T2 against the Amazon Kindle Paperwhite. The Paperwhite's on the right hand side, Sony's on the left. As you can see, there's two different colors. To give you a sense of what these things can do, the Paperwhite is 6 inches and so is the Sony. You have 800 by 600 on the Sony in terms of resolution versus 1024 by 768 on the Paperwhite. So huge upgrade on the resolution and graphics processing. They both have about the same bit of memory, 2 gigs, but realistically you have about 1.4 after it's all said and done. The Sony allows you to expand the memory via the micro USB, whereas all Kindle e-readers do not have expandable memory. It's one of the ways that Amazon's able to reduce costs, but you do have the cloud system, so if you run out of storage capacity, if you've purchased a lot of books, you can simply just store them in the cloud. They both have USBs to charge the devices as well as Wi-Fi in order to purchase books. We're going to show you the EPUB experience and on the Sony, and show you the Mobi experience on the Kindle, and we'll show you how complex PDFs look. So, Peter, why don't we show them the same book?
All right. So as Michael said, they are different formats. So we can do the same book, but they're going to be definitely different formats. So this is the stock full screen page, no margin changes or anything like that. So we'll just start with the Sony here. We'll kind of do everything together. So if we highlight a word, instantly both of them come up with definitions. From there you can highlight. Keeps the highlights there. You can make notes by going to add note, same as on the Sony. We'll just type any old random thing here. Keyboards are very responsive.
I like being able to add note by drawing. I think that's cool.
That was interesting. Yeah, I mean it really does help with e-readers to be able to add notes by drawing, because it's touchscreen. Might as well. So also we have share or send to. You can search for things. Wikipedia, Google. You can share things with Facebook, Twitter, Evernote, depending on the devices. Kindle is kind of going to be the highlight here because it has both translation and report content error. We'll go over these real quick. Translation can translate any word that you've highlighted into pretty much anything. You see right here it's set to Chinese, so you'll see it will right there. I didn't even have to choose anything, and the resolution is high enough to display full complex Asian keystroke characters, Chinese, Korean, Chinese traditional, Japanese. So you can...
And Japanese is useful because the Kindle just launched in Japan.
Exactly, so we can change it to pretty much any word we want. This Sony does not have that feature. As well as if there's a misspelling of a word, for example, if it's ATT, or there's too many A's or so forth, if there's a misspelling or a typo, you can let them know what exactly is wrong. If there's a formatting issue, maybe the word is in French when it shouldn't be, you can submit that to Amazon, and then if enough people actually submit similar problems when you're going to buy the book in the store, it'll let you know that there may be some typos in this particular book you're about to purchase.
Yeah, not only for typos and for formatting errors, but also if you meant to buy the book 50 Shades of Grey and you end up buying the book 51 Shades of Grey, which obviously are not the same book, you could report it. And if enough people report the book, when you visit Amazon.com.ca.co.uk and you see a book that has a lot of people submitting problems with it, it'll actually say in bright yellow at the very top next to the cover art and letting you know that Amazon is placing this book under review. So you'll have that review there saying, oh, I don't know if I want to maybe buy this book because a lot of people said there's formatting errors or this is PLA content and whatnot. So it just goes for saying.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really useful, and I find that that's a really good setting they've incorporated.
Okay, so we saw a lot of the ways that you can make notes and things like that. Page turn speeds pretty well seem be about the same. The advantage the Sony has is that you can tap on it, swipe at it, but it also has manual page turn buttons. So that's a huge advantage over people that, like to hold a reader with one hand. If you're holding a reader with one hand, it's sort of hard to hold it with one hand and also,
Right there.
and also being able to swipe it and turn pages too. With the Sony, it's a little bit easier because you can just like hit the physical page turn buttons. They have a good tectonic feel to it. They're not sharp, so you're not going to really hurt yourself over long reading sessions or anything like that.
Exactly, and Amazon with the Paperwhite, you'll notice no more page turn buttons like we have on the Kindle 4 here. We still have the manual page turn buttons, but on the newer generation they got rid of that.
Okay, so what could we do to change the font experience? Because that isn't something we looked at yet.
Alright, if you tap the top, it'll bring up the font button here, as well as tapping the more button will bring up font on the Sony. From here, obviously it looks like the Amazon has a lot more options, so we'll start with the Sony. We have different levels of text, changing live, really quick, different styles of text, changes live. It's not too bad. That's pretty much it. And that's where it kind of ends. Whereas with the Amazon, you have 8 different levels of font sizes. Changes live. Font styles. But they go one step further. So you can do line spacing. Spread it out. Changing live. Keep it tight. Or margins. So you can almost newspaper-esque this reading experience into a column. So a lot more options with the Amazon Kindle than the Sony. So I would say for overall augmentation of your text and reading comfortability, say the Amazon probably takes that.
Yeah, Amazon allows you a little bit more flexibility in terms of being able to do a lot more. They also have X-Ray 2 on books that you've purchased from Amazon. It basically tells you who the characters are, when they were referenced to the book, and this is useful if you start a book and then you may go back to it about a month later. You're like, oh, who are the main characters? What's going on? What's the premise? You could read that all. One of the advantages that the Sony has is that you can buy books from Kobo, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookstores because its primary book format is EPUB, whereas with Kindle they use their own proprietary format, and so you can buy books from other ebook stores and just load them on, as well as the Kindle Paperwhite. It's not compatible with Adobe Digital Editions, whereas the Sony is. The Kindle, it's a little bit more advanced in terms of you have to convert free EPUB books to Mobi or AZW or PRC, whereas with the Sony, it's easy. Download an EPUB from the internet, you load it on with Windows Explorer, you're good to go. Or if you buy books from Kobo, Barnes & Noble, use Adobe Digital Editions, and you're good to go. One of the other advantages that Sony has that actually has a built-in overdrive app. So if you're a fan of borrowing digital books from a library, it's pretty easy via the overdrive app to read, check out, and borrow books all within a singular app. I can't tell you how many other brands I wish carried this. I wish Amazon had an overdrive app where you just click on it, you borrow books, it's easy. Instead you have to jump through like 5 or 6 different hoops. The next thing we want to show you is the PDF experience. A lot of people are reading PDFs with schools, with academics, K-12s, or you're just reading, what we have here is our standard benchmark test, which is the Dungeon Master Guide. It's 100 MB. It really gives you an indication on, with the bigger files, how responsive the device is in terms of changing the page, and in flexibility of being able to pinch and zoom, reflow text, and so on. Let's check out side by side what these two can do.
Alright, I see that it is a big file, so it's kind of backlogging my swipes. They both turn pages pretty easily. The Sony has been known to handle large-sized PDFs a little poorly when it comes to page turnings. Maybe it doesn't recognize it up front, but it eventually does, and they both do it well. On the Kindle Paperwhite, you see you can pinch and zoom. Scrolling takes a little bit of time to do, a little bit laggy. The text is readable while you're doing this, but it's a little choppy. And you see you can't change over, so when I reach the edge and I want to keep scrolling, I want to let go and grab it again, but it doesn't really let me. It doesn't have a lot of, I guess it's inertia they call it, to kind of catch it back and continue, navigating around. If you let go on on anything really. It then renders. Same with the Sony, except the Sony is lightning fast. Look at that. I can pinch and zoom 30 times over before the Kindle did it once. And unlike the Kindle, when you reach the end and you want to keep scrolling, you can kind of flick it and then catch it again, so you can, kind of scroll to the very top without it rendering on you, and then you have to re-click it. It's a small thing, but it does, it's these little things that really add up. Once you let go with the Sony, it takes a little bit longer, but it does eventually render. Also, the Sony has capabilities of, we'll show you here, Reflow. So what we can do is, we'll go to both of these. You'll notice that the A, like this, has disappeared from the top. It's not there anymore like in an ebook, whereas it's still here on the Sony. So if we press that, and then we go a level up, what it's going to do is reflow it. You see all the highlighted, bolded titles and everything are still at the start. There's no clipping, there's no missing words, everything's nice and laid out and formatted. So we're actually displaying this page in a formatted way, so it does have a lot of reflow options.
I would probably say I like the Sony a little bit better, even though the Kindle has higher resolution, and I mean it does have Glowlight functionality, which is the big hyping factor that allows you to read in the dark. But Sony, quicker pinching and zooming. Despite the fact you can pinch and zoom, they do allow you a lot of reflow options, which is good for newspapers, which is good for magazines and other side-loaded content. I would probably say for a pure PDF experience, pretty well Sony leads every e-reader company. It's just not the Kindle Paperwhite, but it allows you more versatility and freedom than pretty well any other e-reader on the market. So if you are huge into PDFs and heavily invested into them, Sony is probably your preferred e-reader for that.
I would say so too. I mean, it pinch and zooms just like the Amazon. It reflows unlike the Amazon. Just gives you more flexibility. But however, you can tell if we go bigger here, we're max zoomed in on the Sony. We can't really go any further up, whereas the Kindle has gone that much further and is actually, resolution is a lot higher and it's a lot more crisp. And it seems that the Sony's not really having some trouble rendering there. But overall, yeah, the Sony's just more versatile in its PDF comfortability.
Final thing we want to show you is the store experience, because this is where you're going to go to purchase your majority of content. Both stores are pretty well developed. I would say that normally the Kindle store loads a little bit quicker. Sony store, for some reason, usually lags a little bit.
Yeah, we also noticed some staining on the screen there until it had to kind of refresh, but that was quickly solved.
In terms of like ebooks, magazines, newspapers, there's no comparison against the Amazon store. They simply have more books and more popular books than what you would want. Sony, a little bit lackluster on the content. It's also a little bit more expensive on average.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, Amazon's not really a contest. You can really see here just by pressing books. Give it a second there. 1.6 million books, whereas the Sony, we can tell you, does not have quite that many.
So this is just the default experience. So we just wanted to give you an indication on how both of them stacked up, worked with ebooks, complex PDF documents, and just to generally show you the store. We could spend another hour showing you the ins and outs of every one, but we're not. You can see our full hands-on review of each of these singular devices if you want to know more. And where can you watch them? Well, on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/goodyreader, and also written reviews as well as videos and pictures on our website at goodyreader.com. So make those two your number one bookmarks on whatever internet browser that you use. And if you have any comments, please leave a comment on this video. And for a comparison of the Amazon Kindle Paperwhite against the Sony PRS-T2 e-reading experience, my name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Everybody take care.